Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now Lydia Manson, and she will be playing, if I pronounce this correctly, Alaina from Reunion from Hell 2. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I know, I feel like I keep pronouncing it wrong. So I am just, when I get on set, I'm going to be like, Hayden, I need just correct enunciation, please, for just my purposes and everybody's purposes. Just,
Exactly. So how you doing, Lydia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad that I could have you on. I know we were just talking before we started recording that I won't be in Reunion from Hell 2, unfortunately. My family got COVID and they were my transportation. Now I do drive, but I didn't want to drive 9 hours, and my mom always wanted to see Tennessee and everything like that. And it's like, okay, that'll be great. And then I was around my mom and everything, and then I tested and I am not positive. I did not test positive for it. But I was just around her briefly, but I still was told to quarantine. I had to get the booster and everything, but they unfortunately did test positive, and they are unfortunately not able to take me, and their quarantining ends on Friday. So unfortunately that, all kind of really makes me upset, and I was really excited to meet you and meet Hayden and everybody, but
You'll be there in spirit.
Exactly. That's how life is. Shit happens.
We'll FaceTime you in.
Absolutely, definitely. So the first question I got for you is, how did you get your start into acting?
So Josh Graves actually gave me my first part, which was in, The House That Eats Flesh. So I had got that because I was just following the movie, The House That Eats Flesh, just to support a friend of mine at the time. Josh had posted that he was looking to fill a couple of female roles. And I had recently lost the job that I was working at the time, my career. So I'm like, why the heck not? Let's just go for it. So I reached out to Josh and I was like, I'm interested. And he was like, can you record a monologue for me? And I was like, sure. So I, what is the first thing you do? Google monologue for horror film, and unbeknownst to me, 1,000,001 monologues come up, and I'm like, oh well, this is very overwhelming. So I just spend all night just like going through, because what monologue do you pick for an indie horror film? I had no idea. So the next day just like kept messaging Josh, and I just kept apologizing to him. I'm like, I am so sorry for bothering you. I was like, but I just want this audition to be very good. And I want to pick the right monologue for you. And he was like, no, I appreciate you putting like so much thought into it. So eventually it just got to the point where I was like, I am never going to find the right monologue that I want. So I ended up just writing my own.
Nice.
Went to a local cemetery, ended up just drinking blood from a goblet because that's what you do for horror films. Ended up just being drenched in blood and ran through said cemetery. Did a voiceover of my monologue, sent it over to Josh, and like about 14 months later now, here I am.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. I can't wait to see The House That Eats Flesh. I know I'm
super excited. I can't wait for it to come, be finished. Yeah. So it's going to be a 3-part anthology. The trailer that's out now that you see, that is for the first part. So we have Lisa Wilcox in it, which she's going to be in Reunion from Hell too. So I'm super excited to get to work with her again. So I just found out the dates. We're going to be filming the next 2 parts. So that's going to be the beginning of April that we're going to finish filming that. So super excited to finish filming that project and get that out for everybody to see. So
absolutely, that's going to be super exciting. I can't wait to see it as well. I had Josh on the show. It's such a great guy.
Yeah, Josh is awesome.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to see these films. They're gonna be badass.
Yeah, and I mean, if I know he's working on his Indiegogo for Late Checkout right now, which I mean, that teaser trailer looks super awesome. So I'm super excited to see that when he gets that out.
So how did you happen to land the role of, I guess it's pronounced Alaina, in Reunion from Hell 2?
So Steve Haleski, who's in the film, is a good friend of mine. He was actually in The House That Eats Flesh. We worked on another project together. I noticed that he was in it. And then also Mike Katz, who's in Reunion from Hell 2. We worked together for Hellfire Entertainment, which is where I work for my podcast, Just the Deets.
Okay.
So, I noticed both of them were in the film, and I was like, hey, Mike, like, are they still casting? Like, any roles you think they need to be filled? And he was like, I really don't know. I was like, that's not much help, Mike. Like, we're supposed to be in this together. Like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Yeah. So I just decided to reach out to Hayden, and I was like, I have a couple friends in the film. Just wondering, do you have any roles you have left to fill? Mm-hmm. So he was like, I only have one small part left, which was the role of Claire. He was like, can you tell me like a little bit about yourself? So I told him, I was like, well, like I'm a big cosplayer. I told him a few of the films I had done, some of the roles like I had done in those films. And he was like, yeah, like based on everything that you've told me about yourself, he's like, I think you would be a really good fit for Claire. He's like, but again, it is a small part. I was like, hey, there's no small roles, only small actors. Right. Also, I'm still really new to the film industry. Like, I have no problem playing a small role. Like, I understand, like, I'm still very new to this. Like, give me a few lines. That is perfectly fine with me. Like, I understand I have to build my way up. Like, I understand that. No qualms about it, Absolutely. So I was perfectly fine playing Claire. Got to, talked with Hayden a few times. He checked out my podcast, Just the Deets. I guess he liked it. And then unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but the person who played Alaina, we're just going to call her A. We'll just refer to her as A so that we don't do no justice to how her name is pronounced. Exactly. Unfortunately, that actress, I guess, had left the part. I don't know why. And Hayden reached out to me, and he was like, I think you would do a good job filling her role, which was a much bigger role than Claire. And I was just like, are you sure? Like, this is much bigger role than I had played in any other film. He's like, you'll be in pretty much almost all of the scenes from pretty much the start of the film to almost the end. And I was like, if you believe in me to play this role, then I will gladly fill it. I'm not going to say no. So I was like, that is how I got to be in this film.
That's awesome. So, that's exciting.
Unsolicited message to Hayden. I'm sorry, but it worked out.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see this movie. Obviously, I wish I could be in it, but I'm excited to see it. And I definitely, obviously, I did donate to the Indiegogo. Even when I was in the film, I wanted to donate because I wanted to get a copy of the Blu-ray and everything. So definitely we'll be checking it out. And for those that are unaware of what this film is about, can you let them know what it's about? Can you give us a brief synopsis?
So it takes place 2 years after the unfortunate incidents that take place in Reunion from Hell. Mm-hmm. So Riley is still getting over the incidents that take place after his brother unfortunately committed the crimes that he did against his family and his friends. So now he's getting together with his friends for Christmas. And he decides, let's go and get away from the everyday hustle and bustle and go out, run a cabin. Well, not really run a cabin because it's his family's cabin. So they just decide to get away for Christmas. And unfortunately, trouble finds them at the cabin. And you're just going to have to wait and see what happens to all of them.
Exactly. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see.
Who doesn't love a Christmas slasher?
Exactly. I mean, that's probably the best thing is a Christmas slasher, that and a Halloween slasher. And we got how many of those? I mean,
right?
Slashers, you don't get as many. And when you do, you usually get a Santa Claus killer. So we're getting something a little different this time. So it's going to be exciting. I'm really excited. Obviously, the mask has been revealed. And obviously, it's not a Santa Claus killer. So
it is not. Santa's not the killer, and it's not a spoiler.
Exactly. So this is going to be super
I can say
exciting.
that.
Absolutely. So what do you believe is going to be the most challenging part of filming Reunion from Hell 2 for you, and why?
After reading the script now, there is one particular scene that I know emotionally I'm going to have to dig a little bit deeper than I previously have had to reach for roles. So I think that that's going to be a little bit challenging for me. Also, you know, I think there is, you know, like just hanging out, there's like a hot tub scene. So I think like for me, that's just like a little bit challenging because like I have my own issues with body image. And Hayden was, you know, really awesome. And he was willing to let me just sit on the side, and he was like, you know, we can make it so that she decides not to get in. He's like, if you're not comfortable. And I said, no, you know, that's something I need to deal with as an actress. I need to deal with that. And because if I'm going to make it in this industry, not everyone is going to change things for me because I'm not comfortable doing it.
They'll replace you, if anything.
Exactly. And as amazing as that was for Hayden to do that for me, you know, I was like, no, I need to deal with that myself. And yep, I'm just going to have to deal with it and get over my insecurities. And, you know, that's what you have to do as an actress. You have to dig deep and deal with it because you know what, like you said, you don't want to do it. Somebody else will. So
exactly.
That's how it is. You know, I'm a dime a dozen. There is 1,000,001 actresses who will gladly take my place, you know? So as awesome as it was that Hayden was willing to do that for me, you know, and I really appreciate that. It's just something that, you know, I'm just going to have to dig deep in.
Absolutely. Exactly. I know my character, Hayden asked me, she was writing the script up and he asked me, are you okay doing a nude scene? I'm like, well, I work for the federal government, so let me find out for my job first. Let me find out for my boyfriend, make sure he's okay with it. And then if they're okay with it, then I don't have a problem. But I'm like, can I ask you a question? He's like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, why me? Who wants to see me naked?
Right?
Like, who wants to see me naked? But I appreciate the ask, but it's like, if this is going to further the plot of the story and you need my character to do it, then as long as I'm not going to get fired from my salary paying job, which I need to live, then I have no problem doing it. Because like we were saying, any actor that wants a part is willing to do the part if they need to do it. And like everybody is replaceable. Hell, Hayden's even replaceable, even though it's his movie. Like anybody is really replaceable when it comes down to it, because sometimes like what happened to me, shit happens, life gets in the way and somebody's got to take over. So anybody's willing to take over anybody's part. And I mean, that's why like when you're offered a really good spot, like you got to take it. And sometimes things do get in the way and you can't fulfill the part, and you know, you're replaced anyways. But I mean, like sometimes, I mean, it's good that he asked, you know, you to do that, you know, if you were okay with it and comfortable with it. And it was even braver and more courageous for you to be like, yeah, this is something that is going on with me and I need to take advantage of it and kind of beat that demon, so to speak.
I mean, like, I actually had this conversation with another actor the other day. As far as, I mean, granted, the hot tub scene, I have a bathing suit on, I'm fully clothed. It's not a huge deal. I mean, it's a big deal to me just because like I deal with my own body image. But the conversation I had with an actor the other day was, you know, as far as doing nudity in a film, that's something I'm not comfortable doing and I won't do. You know, that's my limit as an actor. A lot of the times, sometimes there's nudity in films just for having nudity in films. Right. You know what I mean? And sometimes I don't feel like that furthers the plot. Sometimes it does. Like if you're in a scene that, you know, like you're getting hot and heavy, clothes are flying. Yeah. It's part of the scene. I completely understand that. But if you're just having a girl take her top off just because you think it's going to get more people to watch your film. Yeah, that's when you draw the line. Exactly. I don't, if you come to me and you say, oh, I need you to take your top off for this film, I'm sorry, you can find another actress, you know, like. Absolutely. And he was like, oh, well, you're going to lose a lot of jobs. Well, then I don't want those jobs to begin with. Absolutely. You know, and sometimes you have to do what you believe. That's just something I'm not comfortable doing, you know, like, I'm sorry, you know, and granted, Elliot, I'll tell you that it's not that great. I will tell you that right now. Like nobody needs to see it. And sometimes you got to do what's best for you. Sometimes it is. I mean, especially if it doesn't further the plot. Like I'm not willing to expose myself just to show myself to you and to the whole world. Like like really, like that's not the point. Like I'm not going to be a sex object for you and for the audience. I know a lot of actresses who are very comfortable showing their body, and more props to them. Kudos, like I fully respect them for having, the courageousness to do it. Like, I applaud them. I don't have it in me, I applaud them for, just having it. And I just don't. So if I lose that job, I'll be like, you know what? I know this very amazing actress with an amazing body who, you know what, you should talk to them.
Absolutely.
So I will pass a job to them. So
good. And that's amazing. I mean, obviously you would help somebody else out to get a job in the process. So it's a win-win. So what are you looking forward to the most about filming this film?
I'm excited to see a couple of people that I've worked with before. So again, like, I get to see Steve Fileski again. I've worked with him a couple of times. He's an amazing actor. I get to see Lisa Wilcox again. She's great. Nightmare on Elm Street is one of my all-time favorite horror films. So to get to work with 3 Nightmare on Elm Street alumni, is just amazing.
I think that's what bums me out the most.
Right? I actually reached out to Hayden, like, I think early last week, because I made a replica of the Nightmare on Elm Street house out of popsicle sticks. I had recreated the opening scene of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, when she makes the popsicle stick house and, paper maches it and everything. So I have the house, and I've had it for almost a year now. And I'm just like, what am I going to do with this house? So then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, wait a second, there's going to be 3 of them there.
Yeah.
I was like, would it be unprofessional of me to ask them to sign it? Nice. Is that? So I asked Hayden, I said, just quick question. I have this house. Is it unprofessional if I ask them to sign it? I was like, because I'm like, first and foremost, I want to be professional.
Right.
But on the other hand, I want them to sign my house. I was like, I won't bring it, but I want to. But I want to check with you first. I said, I will always be professional first and foremost, like, that is my main goal, is to be an actress, like, this is what I want to do now. But it would be awesome to get them to sign this house. Like, I have nothing else to do with this house, obviously. Like, now it's just going to be a piece of memorabilia for me. And he was like, oh no, like, you've worked with Lisa. And I was like, yeah, she's super awesome. He's like, Mark and Danny are awesome. He's like, I don't see them having an issue with it. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to cross that line.
Yeah.
And he was like,
it's not like you're meeting them as a fan. You're
a
colleague now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, if you have a minute, here's this house. Nice. Only if you have a second, just a quick little John Hancock there. And I will gladly retreat.
That's awesome though. And making the Nightmare house with popsicle sticks, that's got to be a project.
It was. I know it's not like 100% authentic. Like, it's nowhere near what it should be. Eventually I'm gonna have to redo it if I want it to be, screen accurate. So I'm like, I'm gonna just have them sign the base so that I can eventually have it, screen accurate. But right now, from a distance, it looks pretty good.
That's awesome though. It really is. I'm not that good at arts and crafts, so I mean, kudos to you for that. That takes a lot of patience.
It did. I definitely burned my fingers a few times. My hot glue gun got the best of me, but I'm proud of it. It took a couple of days, but
that's
it's
awesome.
What we do.
So did you see the first Reunion from Hell, and what did you think of it if you did?
I did not. I've not seen it. Don't tell Hayden. Hayden, don't watch this.
I don't know. I have my copy somewhere. I don't know where I put it. I got the copy in the mail a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
Okay.
And I don't know where I put it. I know I didn't watch it yet either. I was gonna watch it before filming and everything, but then I guess got very busy and so they dropped out. I'm like, well, now I don't have any rush at this point.
Yeah, I can't. The last new movie I've seen was Encanto, which is a Disney cartoon. Right. So that tells you, where I'm at as far as new movies go.
Did you see Scream?
Did not.
You didn't see Scream. You know, no. Do you know any spoilers of it?
No.
No. Oh,
don't know anything about it.
Plan on seeing it?
I would love to see it. I have no idea when I would have the time to see it. It's where
sense.
I'm at.
Yes.
You know, because I'm filming this, and then after that next month, so I come back from that probably around the 7th.
Yeah.
The 24th of February, I'm going to be flying down to Texas. I have a convention, the Cult Classic convention down in Bastrop.
Nice.
So I'll be there. Then in March, I have Monster Mania convention in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And then in April, I have New Jersey HorrorCon convention. So I just one thing after another.
Well, let me ask you this. I know they're from what I've seen online, they're doing a Monster Mania in Hunt Valley, Maryland in October. I'm guessing they're still doing that because they did announce in November the Oaks, Pennsylvania one. Do you know when they'll start announcing guests for Hunt Valley? Because I think I would like to go to that one. I'm really close.
So they announced, as far as I know, for the Cherry Hill Monster Mania. So that is March 11th through the 13th.
Yeah.
I want to say, so they have, I think, 4 Dexter guests.
So, yeah.
4 or 5-ish,
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I want to say they announced those about a month and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
So if you stick with that timeline, so that would put us at about, you know, end of November.
Okay.
I would say, you know, so let's shoot for, you said October?
October, yes.
All right, so let's shoot for end of August.
Okay.
Is when they would maybe. No,
I know
that doesn't make any sense. I just totally did not add that up in my head correctly. I would maybe say beginning of June-ish, maybe.
Okay.
I would maybe start paying attention for a lineup for that. Maybe.
Okay, because I know the one in Oak, Pennsylvania is in November, and they already announced Robert Englund for that. But I mean, it is Robert Englund,
God.
so they probably have to get him really, really early.
I would love to meet him, but
yeah,
I know those lines are ridiculously long.
Oh yeah.
I know it's worth it.
Yeah.
I know it's worth it.
Yeah.
But also it's like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I tend to have to pee very frequently. Not that you needed to know that, but I'm also very TMI. I'm very open about a lot of things. And I'm like, I just cannot picture standing in line for 4 hours and being like,
I know.
But then I'm like, it's also Robert Englund.
First in line.
And I'm not gonna lie, I would just probably be standing there with my house and be like, it's already got 3 signatures. Need Robert Englund.
Yep.
And I would just be there with a goofy like grin on my face, like, yep, got my house.
Absolutely. I know. I'm Slasher Scotty, and I've never been to a Monster Mania, believe it or not. And I'm kicking
I've only been to one.
Okay.
I've only been to one
myself, and I want to go to the one in Cherry Hill, but obviously, I mean, first of all, it's kind of farther away. I mean, Hunt Valley, Maryland is literally like maybe a 15-minute drive. I mean, you have to pay for a hotel.
That is good.
Yeah, but I'm really jealous. I want to meet, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but I would love to meet Tio Briones from Chucky and Ratchet. Yeah.
Oh.
This is his first con.
So funny story.
Okay.
When I went to Monster Mania for the first time,
okay.
So I got to set up with Trauma because I made friends with Trauma at a previous convention. So I'm actually going to be, when I go to Monster Mania in March, I'm going to be setting up a Trauma again.
Nice.
And at New Jersey HorrorCon. When I looked at the lineup, it was a Chucky reunion.
Right.
Like Fiona Dorff was there, Brad Dorff was there. Right. Also, you know, Andy was going to be there. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, I'm a cosplayer. I do Tiffany.
Oh.
I was like, I gotta go as Tiffany. So it's a 3.5 hour drive to Cherry Hill from my house. So I don my Tiffany. I get my Chucky doll. I get my Tiffany doll. I set them up in my front seat, strap them in because they have to be secure. I stop, get myself a pop at my Cumbie Farms, and I'm checking out. And when I'm in cosplay in public, like I am very self-conscious because I'm like, everybody's staring at me. So I'm just like head down, and the cashier, she goes, "Are you who I think you're supposed to be?" And I was like, And she goes, oh my God. I had the tattoo and everything. Like I go full out. She was like, oh my God, you look awesome. I was like, oh, I'm going to a convention. So I get to the convention. Every single person that walks past the trauma table that is dressed as Chucky, first rule of cosplay is you do not break your character. Mm-hmm. So everybody that walks by as Chucky, I was like, how dare you even show your face? I was like, I looked for you for 10 years. I was like, and you come over here? I was like, you don't even appreciate my Swedish meatballs. Oh, I kept at it. Nice. I entered the costume contest. I did not win. So when they announced the winner and it was not me, I just dropped to my knees and I was like, I was robbed, because I was like, I feel as though that is how Tiffany would lose.
Right.
So the next day, because I only went Saturday and Sunday. So Sunday, I was like, oh, everybody loved my Tiffany so much on Saturday because everybody just kept coming up and taking pictures with me. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to dress as Tiffany again. So I donned Tiffany again. And I was like, oh, today's going to be the day where I go and just meet everybody that I wanted mm-hmm. to meet. So I went and got to meet Bill Moseley and, everybody. Fiona Dorff is absolutely amazing. If you ever get to meet her, mm-hmm. I highly recommend her. Okay. So I walk into the room where most of the celebrities were, and he sees me, Andy, and I'm just like walking with my Chucky doll, mm-hmm. and he points at me. So he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I'm just like, oh my God. And he's pointing at me and he's saying, come over. And I'm just like, me? And he's like, yes. And I'm just like, oh my God. I was like, yes, of course, I will come to you. Of course. Like, what else would happen right now? So I go over to his table and I'm just like, hello. And he's like, you have a really good Tiffany going on there. And I was like, thank you. Like, and I was like, I don't know if you remember this. Of course you don't, because, you're you. But you actually commented, because I had like professional photos done as my Tiffany and posted them on Facebook. And he had actually commented on them. Nice. I screenshotted it to save it for memories, of course. And he had actually commented and he was like, really good job. And I fangirled a little bit. And I reminded him of this. And I was like, yeah, you commented on my Tiffany photos on Facebook. And he's like, oh, that was really nice of me. And I was like, that's what I thought. So I got to take a picture with him and his Chucky doll as me dressed as Tiffany. And it was just like super amazing. But it was like super great to just like meet him in that aspect. Right. And I was just like super excited. That fangirl, like, just a
Jennifer Tilly, does she do any conventions?
Not that I know of.
I haven't seen her do any.
I've never seen her on a lineup. Mm-hmm. If she did, I would like race there. I tried messaging her on Instagram and like sending her my photos as Tiffany because I was just like really proud of it. But she has her messages turned off. So I've tried like tagging her in them and stuff, but it just he was like, oh, can you do the voice? And I was like, no, I can't. He's like, you're gonna have to work on that. And I was like, yes, sir.
Nice. I have a very embarrassing story about with Alex Vincent, aka Andy Barclay. So I interviewed Christina Leese, and she's on my Facebook friends list, and I interviewed her and I reached out to her, and she's like, first when I reached out to her was in the middle of like COVID, like summer of 2020, and she's like, can we push it back a couple months? I don't feel like it's appropriate to do it in the middle of this pandemic and all that, which I get. I mean, I thought it would be more of a distraction, but I get that. So I reached out to her maybe a couple months later or so, and we did it. We did the interview. It was before I started doing video interviews. So we did the interview, and we were talking about Alex Vincent, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm really good friends with him. If you want an interview, I can make it happen. I'm like, oh, I would love that. Thinking she'd just being nice, maybe on the air or whatever, but I was like, I'll take it. So I reached out. She just said, message her after the interview. I'm like, sure. And I did. And she said, oh, I already been sent him a message. I'm waiting to hear back. So So she ended up sending me another message maybe a day or two later. She goes, "Oh, Alex said that he's game for it. He said follow him on Instagram." So I followed him on Instagram, which I thought I was following him, but it was my Scotty account I followed him on. That I'm starting to follow him on. I wasn't following him on my main account, my actor account. So I followed him on my Scotty account. He followed me back and he sent me a message like, "When are we gonna do this interview, buddy?" I'm like, awesome. So we set up the interview.
Whatever's good for you.
Right, whatever's good for you.
Yeah, you know what? You tell me the time and I'll just you know what? I'll make it happen.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
So I gave him my number and we set the interview for, I think it was like 1 o'clock or something like that. And he sent me so he called me. I'm like, "Hello?" And he's like, "Hey, Scotty." I'm like, "Who's this?" Right? He's like, "It's
New
Alex."
phone, who this?
He's like, "Alex." I'm like, "Alex who?" He's like, "Alex Vincent. We had an interview." I'm like, "Oh, I thought our interview was 1 o'clock, not 12 o'clock." Because he called me at 12 and he's like, "Oh crap, that's right. We did say at 1 o'clock." He's like, "Do you want me to call back?" I'm like, "No, let's do it now. Let's do it now.
I'm good.
Let's do it now." So I started the interview up and I do my welcome intro and everything. And I have a surprise for all of you, yada, yada, yada. I said, I have on the phone with me, Alex Vincent. He's like, "You were going to call me Andy, weren't you?" I'm like, "I was."
No.
He's like, "It's okay. After about maybe 2 or 3 decades of this, I'm used to it." So I'm like, "Good to know." So a couple of embarrassing quirks there with Andy. I'm gonna call him Andy again with Alex, and it's like, whoa! But he's such a great guy, really great guy, and very funny, very sarcastic, like very sassy. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, it was super great meeting him, in person and everything. I mean, I'm glad I got to meet him the way I did, especially dressed as like Tiffany. I wish he would follow me back on Instagram.
I know
Alex,
that
if you're watching.
they're doing a convention in August. It's a smaller convention. It's like horror and popcorn or something like that. And it's down in Linthicum Heights, Maryland, which is like maybe another like 20 minutes away from me, not even. Mm-hmm. And it's at the Marriott Hotel by the BWI airport. And I'm not related to Child's Play, but they have Dave Sheridan's going to be there and Felissa Rose is going to be there.
Oh, they're hilarious.
Yes, I want to meet them both so bad. I interviewed Dave Sheridan already, and I want to like meet him. Like, "Hey, I'm Slasher Scotty. You did an interview with me."
I've met them both in person, and I've actually got to see them on set.
Nice.
I was at so Bill Diamond Productions, his Bill Diamond Studios. It's about an hour and 20 minutes from my house. Okay. They were filming Z Dead End there. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's an upcoming indie film. So I had met Bill Diamond at a convention. Became friends with him. He, so I got to go film an episode of Toking with the Dead, which is about zombies who they super high zombies. Super fun, so I got to play a zombie in an episode. Really great experience. It was super amazing just getting to tour the studio lot, like super awesome, just memorabilia there. Like I got to see and touch the clock from Back to the Future. I went back like 3 times. I was like, I got to take a selfie with it. Oh, and I got to touch it, like just super amazing things. They had the motorcycle from Spawn and I was like, can I sit on it? And they were like, no. And I was like, well, this is a terrible tour. Like, and then I was like, I'm just kidding. Like, but can I please sit on it? And they were like, no. And I was like, damn it. I tried so hard. But, Bill was like, anytime you want to come back, Lydia, you're more than welcome to come back to the studio, like anytime. And I was like, Bill, don't say that to me because you will have a sign on your front door with my face and the giant circle with an X in it because I will be here all the time. But then he was like, oh, we're going to be filming Z Dead End here. He's like, if you want to come and hang out while they're filming, I will put you on the guest list. And I was like, what? Nice. I was like, so you're telling me you're going to have Kane Hodder, Felissa Rose, Dave Sheridan filming, and I can just come and watch. Nice. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, all right, just let me know when.
Absolutely. Like, sign me up.
Right. Like, who says that? I was like, what world am I living in right now?
Right.
So I show up And I'm just like, is this really happening right now? Like they're just like right in front of me. So it was like super awesome. And then like fast forward, I was at New Jersey Horror Con, and Felissa and Dave Sheridan, like their tables are always right next to each other because they're just like BFFs. And my friend Gabe was getting a poster signed by Felissa, and he was telling her, he was like, you know, I came here today just to meet you. He had already met her before, but you know, he just wanted to see her again because he got a new poster he needed signed. And you know, she was just like so amazing. She was like, Gabe, you know, any photo on this table is yours. And I'm just like, I was like, one day, hopefully that is like me, you know, like, just like, oh my God, one day I hope to be like at that level where like a fan is just like there to meet me. And I'm just like, I hope like I just have that effect. But so Gabe gets up and he's able to take like his picture with Felissa. And of course, Dave is there dressed as Officer Doofy. And he just like starts creeping in the background in the photos. Yeah. But Gabe doesn't realize this is going on. So I'm just like laughing hysterically because I see it all unfolding before my eyes. And I'm just like, this is going to be so funny when Gabe sees these photos on his phone, because it's just like Dave Sheridan, 2 for 1. Like, yeah. But Gabe is just like so enamored with Felissa, he doesn't care what is going on in the background. But I'm like, oh my God, when he realizes like who's in the background with the photo, you know, like, you know, it's just like stuff like that. It's just like priceless, because, you know, you never know what is going to happen at conventions. And I think it's just like so great when like celebrities like that, you know, just get in on the fun, and they're just like, they don't care about like the money for the photos. They're just there to have a good time and make a good experience for their fans. Yeah. And I just that was super fun.
Now, do they when you get the photo ops or whatever with the celebrities, do they have a professional photographer, or could you get it with your cell phone?
So depending on what conventions you go to, they will have professional photo ops. So Monster Mania, for instance, like the Chucky. Yeah. When I went to Monster Mania and it was like the Chucky reunion, you could have a professional photo op with all of the Chucky members. So they had, because I think there was like 4 different Chucky members there. So you could get a professional photo done with all of the Chucky members. But if you do that, you cannot ask for their signatures at that moment. Okay. And you buy that ahead of time, like on the website. Now, if you go up to their table, you can get anything signed. Like if you bring a poster, you can get that signed, or they'll have like pre-printed 8x10s at their table. You buy those photos and get that signed. Excuse me. And then you can also get like a selfie on your phone, or have like your friend take a picture with them on the phone, and you buy that. Okay. So it really just depends. You buy those on the website too, or you just buy that right at the table? Buy that right at the table. Okay. Awesome. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, I think I'd rather with my phone. I don't know. I don't know what I would rather, actually. I like the ones on the phone, because you can quickly take like, 5. Yeah, that's true too. And like I like, if I ever met Felissa Rose, which I really would like to meet her at the August event. If I were to meet her and everything, like I love when she does the picture of her as Angela at the end of the movie, like that surprise twist with her face. Like, it's so she's awesome. Really great to meet in person. She's super sweet, just super personable. You can tell she like really cares about meeting her fans. She's just, you can tell she really enjoys doing it. Yeah. And I think that's really great, because you can tell, like, I've been to conventions, I'm not going to give any names, but there is certain meet and greets that I've seen where you can tell they're just there for the money. Yeah. They're just like, they're not enjoying it. They're just like, and I'm just like, oh, I'm super glad this is going on right now. Right. Like I got to meet Lita Ford at New Jersey Horror Con. Super great experience. Like, amazing. She was like, let's do this pose and this pose. And I'm just like, what is going on here? Like, normally they're just like, all right, let's take our picture and move on to the next. She was like, all right. And I'm just like, I don't even know what pose to do right now. I was not prepared for this. I was just like, I got a rocker pose in me. oh, yeah, I did not know what to expect. But I was just like, oh God, off guard. Because I was just like, normally they're just like, all right, we'll take our picture and move on to the next person. But she was about to go on like lunch or something. So I was literally the last person. I don't know if that was just because I was the last person or not, or if she does that for everyone, but I was just like super like impressed, so I was super happy with my meet and greet with Lita Ford. She was super amazing.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So the last question I got for you, do you have any other projects in the works that you would like to promote to the listening and the viewing audience?
So after, Reunion from Hell 2, the next acting project I have would be, I am working on a fan film, a Batman fan film called The Killing Joke. So I don't know if you're a comic book fan or if you know the story of The Killing Joke, but it is about, kind of like a little bit of a backstory for the Joker. So I'm going to be playing Batgirl in that.
Nice. And I know Anthony Caimano, I think is how you pronounce it, is going to have him on the show. Was it a couple days ago, and we were promoting that. So he's going to be directing it and playing the Joker, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is. So, Anthony's a great guy. So I'm super excited to get to work with him on that. So, can't wait for that to unfold. We're going to be launching, the Indiegogo in just about another month or so for that. So, hopefully people help us out on that, because, without the help and support of our fans, unfortunately, indie films just can't be made. As much as I hate, I always feel like we're like begging people for money, but unfortunately that's like how we get things made. And it's like, but like you said, you bought your copy of the film. So every time you watch it, you're like, what? I helped make that.
Yeah. And then you get to see if you buy a perk of your name at the end credits, or if you buy a producer, you get to see your name in the opening credits. So yeah.
Or you buy a t-shirt, you walk around and you wear that shirt and you're like, what? I'm a part of something.
So even though you're donating, you're not wasting your money and you're not begging for people to donate. Like they're getting something in return. So they get a shirt, they get a DVD or a Blu-ray, they get their name in the movie, they get a shout out on social media, they get to be in the movie. So yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I see, people are like, oh, well, you paid to be in a movie, blah, blah, blah. Well, sometimes people who buy those perks to act in films, it's like, so what?
Right.
Maybe that's their way of living out the dream that maybe they wouldn't have had a chance to do otherwise. Yeah. Sometimes, 85 people audition for the same exact part. So what if they paid, the $200 to be in a film?
Right, because a lot of people, like you said, like there's a lot of people auditioning for the lead roles, and they feel like, oh, I didn't get that, so I'll buy the part to be in the movie, and that way I have a smaller role, but I'm still in the movie, and that makes them feel good.
Exactly, and there's a lot of great actors and actresses out there who won't be given a chance. Yeah. Just because maybe they aren't exactly attractive according to society standards, or maybe they're not exactly what this person wanted them to look like, or they don't sound exactly what this person wanted them to sound like. A lot of the roles that I've been cast in is because I have a certain gothy look, and that's going to hold me back from a lot of different other roles.
Right.
So it's twofold, so what that somebody bought a perk to act in a film. Right. Who cares? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of other things.
When we were doing our Indiegogo for our film 72, somebody asked me if we have any parts to let them know, and I'm like, well, all the main parts are casted, but we are writing some smaller but meaningful roles for our donors. Here's the Indiegogo if you'd like to be in it. And then he literally like unfriended me and posted this really nasty like Facebook status about how he worked so hard to become an actor, and it's an insult to him and to all of the people that are working hard to audition for movie roles, and they have to pay to be in the movie. It's like, really, dude? Like, really, you got to be such a jackass over this?
Then don't do it.
Right.
Because guess what? Right. If you don't get the funds to make the film, then the film doesn't get made. So then you wouldn't be in it anyways.
Exactly. Good point. Yep.
It's no matter what, somebody is always going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
That's just the society we live in. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yep.
So
and
many
people are upset because 95% of this industry is rejection. Really?
Oh my God. I've not gotten one single thing off of an audition.
Right.
Not one single job.
Right. I
And
don't
I'm
think
just
I
like,
did either. I think I just got it. Like I'm doing the movie Heavy Duty Man coming up. We're filming that at the end of April, I believe. I got the role because I'm a little heavier, and they needed somebody heavier to do it. I'm not insulted because they asked me because I'm so-called fat. I've got a movie role. I got a lead role in a movie.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like sometimes, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, like sometimes it's, you know what, you look a certain way, and that's
Yeah.
how, the casting director or the director sees that role being filled.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Does it suck? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But is it going to change? Nope.
No.
It doesn't
Just
matter how
be
good of
happy
an
you got the
actor or
part, and
actress
you
it
gotta
is.
be happy you got the part and do the movie. Because I am.
And instead of like sitting there and like trash talking each other and like sending messages to casting directors and everybody else, like insulting everybody,
Right.
like, why don't we just like build each other up? Like,
Yep.
imagine like how much more we could get done in this industry, and how many amazing films we could make if we did that. Like,
absolutely.
right? It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's amazing how much kindness works.
Right.
So you got anything else that you got coming up?
Unfortunately, because of, like stuff going on at home, I've had to kind of slow down on the projects that I'm taking. So, after like my conventions that I've got set up and the movie roles that I'm working on, I'm going to be kind of tapering off this year and just focusing more on home life. Also, I mean, oh my God, what am I talking about? Samhain. I was cast in Samhain, but I get to film that role from home. So that's actually a huge relief on my shoulders. So I don't have to travel for that. I'm super excited for that. And we are running our Indiegogo for that. Lots of really cool perks on that, less, he just introduced, like, you get to be a director for a day if that's something you've always wanted to do. There's also, you can write a kill scene if if you've ever wanted to be a writer for a film, you can do that. So lots of interesting perks on that one. Some I haven't seen before on Indiegogo. So, if anybody wants to check that out.
Absolutely. Check all that out. Well, I thank you so much, Lydia, for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I'm glad, even though I don't get to meet you in person, I get to meet you,
Yep, I'm really upset about that. I mean, it's something that I'm gonna have to regret the rest of my life, unfortunately, especially because like I really wanted to do it and there's no way for me to do it, unfortunately. But I mean, Hayden said if there's a third one or a future project or whatever, he'll be happy to have me involved. So I'm looking forward to that. So fingers crossed that happens. So
be rooting for you.
Thank you. Well, you have a great rest of your day, Lydia.
You too. Thank you so much.
Of course. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.